Hello, greetings, brothers. How you guys doing? Please let me know you can hear me. The camera it just freaked out like 1 minute before I went live. Go figure. But yeah, good evening. Thanks for being here. Nice to see you all in chat. Let me ensure the chat is turned on. And almost on time tonight. Yeah, I mean, almost on time. If I do disappear for 1 or 2 minutes, it'll just be put my daughter to bed. I will be right back. You know this. That's what happens on the Army List show. Let me just make sure this is the right size as well, so none of it is obscured. Nice to see you guys. Miguel, Mike, Foz. Okay. Oh, I might need to change an option on my camera. I had my camera off today because I was filming my daughter. This might look funky, just give me a second. I'm going to have to... This is what I get for messing. Alright. Cool, that should be it. I forgot I never switched the settings back. Good evening, good evening. Sorry about that. We were doing Play-Doh and I wanted to film my daughter this afternoon. Cool, yeah, I guess it would probably went to sleep. It did already, yeah, so it probably just went to sleep. Give me a second to put it in a good position. I'll adjust it all day long, it's fine. Good evening. Dracula, Foz, Life RPG was saying, yeah, good evening to everybody. Thanks for being here. As always, on Sunday night, we're looking at army lists, and we have a bunch submitted. We're looking at 3 tonight, submitted by... where was I? Nico, Steve T, and the Lion Hobbyist. So these are tonight's lists, and if you want to submit a list, you can do that over on the community tab. You just find the Blood Angels Commander community tab. You post your list up there. Tomorrow night we're playing against Chaos Knights, so I guess we'll see the new Chaos Knight Codex in action. The stream is already live. You can check out the list. It's going to be Andrew playing Chaos Knights. I don't really know what to expect, so I'm kind of going in a bit blind. I mean, Knights are Knights, right? A lot of power, a lot of death, a lot of wounds, a lot of toughness, I guess. So we'll see how we get on against Chaos Knights. Yeah, so that's where we are. Alright, let's start with Nico's list tonight. And he says, good evening, sir. I've created another list for you to check if there's a slot free, so if you happen to find the last one I made several weeks ago, I guess I discarded that one. Would love some input on how effective you think it will be against Tyranids. Have a lovely day and take care. Morale can be a factor. Have Chaos Knights got some... I know that they've got like a aura of death or something, a bit like Contagion maybe, from Nurgle. But I guess it does different things, right? Last time I fought Chaos Knights, it was just a lot of damage. I guess they really didn't have that much chaos to do with the Chaos Knights. It was just a ton of damage coming out. Alright, so we're looking at a battalion detachment, 2,000 points, 9 CP. We're going to take a Librarian Dreadnought with Quickening and Soul Warding and Wings of Sanguinius. He's the Chief Librarian. He has also a Maltagant and Smite, and he's Hero of the Chapter. We have Primaris Chaplain on the bike, Artisan of War, Mantra of Strength, Canticle of Hate. He's wearing Artificer armor, which definitely seems like a strange choice. I feel like Armor Indomitus would be a much better choice here, unless that's somewhere else in the list. Armor... No? Artificer armor is giving him a 2-up save, whereas Armor Indomitus would give him a 2-up save and additional wound in 1 turn of 3 plus 3 plus invulnerable saves. So Armor Indomitus is going to be a way better choice here than Artificer armor. I mean, all Artificer armor is giving him as a 2-up save, right? He's a Master of Sanctity. He has the Litany of Hate. Andy, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really do appreciate that. We did just hit our membership goal for May, but thank you very much. You are a legend. Emperor's Judgment, which is also a strange choice. I've never ran Emperor's Judgment. I don't know if I feel like it's that strong an ability. Let me just bring up Emperor's Judgment for a second. But I ran into Knight with you ran into Chaos Knight and took 20 mortal wounds blowing one up. I mean, sometimes when you blow up a Knight, you have to accept that they can pay CP to explode it, right? Emperor's Judgment is a weird strat that you can only take on a chaplain, and it turns off re-rolls. Each time attack is made against the bearer, he cannot re-roll hits or wounds. And enemy units within 6 inches each time a morale test is taken for that unit, roll 1d6 and discard the lowest result, an additional d6. I don't know about Emperor's Judgment. I think this Primaris Chaplain on the bike is strongest when you give him Armor Indomitus and Gift of Foresight. I think that's the build that a lot of people run him with. Artificer Armor seems like the wrong pick. Emperor's Judgment, we'll have to look at the rest of the list and see how it looks. I'm not 100% sure on that one, really not. Okay. Primaris Librarian, Null Zone, Psychic Fortress, and he has the Reliquary of Galithmore, which is within 18 inches, enemies take -1 to their psychic tests, and I believe if they fail a psychic test, they take D3 mortal wounds. And a 4+, they take D3 mortal wounds. Okay. How often do you fail a psychic test? Not that often. Does -1 make you fail a bit more? Yeah, 50% chance of taking a couple of mortal wounds. I guess the Reliquary of Galithmore is alright. I don't think it's horrible. I think like it works better if you can stack it with something else that gives -1 or -2, like a Calixtus Assassin or something of that nature. Did you guys see the list that Blood Angels in the top 8 features Assault Centurions and Assault Marines and triple Sangri Guard? I did see that list. I think people want me to look at that list. I guess the Assault Centurions, I mean, I ran them at the start of 9th and kind of liked them, but I only bought one squad of them. I never really considered running them as a 5-man or bigger than a 3-man because they're so expensive. But I guess with Armor of Contempt and with a Priest, I guess they can be pretty durable unit, right? In some ways, I guess they're similar to like how I've been saying I think Terminators have a second lease of life since Armor of Contempt, and Assault Centurions are more survivable than Terminators in every way. I guess. Makes me wonder how like Assault Centurions for Black Templars would be if you give them like on Black Templars you can obviously give them like Champion of the Feast and make them better, and you can give them like stuff like -1 damage. You can give them a fight last. Yeah, Assault Centurions not bad at all. Okay. Troops wise is 1 Incursor squad and 2 Intercessor squads. 1 Intercessor has auto bolt rifles, 1 has stalker bolt rifles. I mean, that's fine. I still think probably 2 squads of Incursors and 1 squad of Assault Intercessors is a better choice. In my opinion, stalker rifles, auto bolt rifles, they really don't do much damage. We've done the math on them multiple times. If your troops ever get into melee combat and they're Incursors or they're Assault Intercessors, they're just going to end up doing more than these guys will really ever do. I guess one thing to say is you could take a free chainsword on the Sergeant here. There's no reason the Sergeant, I think he can run a bolt rifle and a chainsword. I think probably worth doing, just to give him an extra attack, an extra point of AP on all his attacks, right? Elite wise, there's a 6-man death company. No, sorry, 5-man death company with jump packs, 3 infernal pistols, 2 thunderhammers. So pretty punchy turn 1 threat. Don't have a whole heap of ways of buffing these guys though, right? Like we've got no Unleash Rage. You're actually missing a power on your Chief Librarian. By upgrading them to Chief Librarian, you can actually pick a third power, because Soul Warden is a Warlord trait. So you've got Quickening and Wings. You probably actually could pick Unleash Rage here, because that would probably actually be pretty good, Nico. Especially if you're going to go aggressive turn 1 with the Death Company, letting their 6s explode will definitely be helpful. You've got a Terminator squad with all Thunderhammers and another Terminator squad with all Thunderhammers. And I don't like this. I think you could save 20 points on both squads by just running 2 guys with Lightning Claws. What happens when you run into a weak enemy? Because your Terminators can't always charge the big nasty enemies. Sometimes they're going to charge into cultists or something like that. Just this week, actually, I had Terminators take out a squad of cultists on the backfield. You don't want Thunderhammers only getting like 3 attacks against cultists. You could be much better off taking like Lightning Claws and get 5 or 6 attacks. The Lightning Claw Terminators are arguably just as survivable as the Storm Shield guys now with Armor of Contempt. It's only when you get up to like -4 EP that the Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield guys are more survivable. So save 20 points on both squads, put a couple of Lightning Claw guys into both squads. I think keep the Sergeant with a Thunder Hammer for the extra attack. But I think the squad is just as good with 2 guys with Lightning Claws. I mean, each guy gets 5 attacks base if you charge, 6 if you're into Savage Echoes. So you essentially get, yes, Terminators, I guess Thunderhammers, 3 attacks, 3 damage each. Lightning Claws, 5 attacks, 1 damage each. You're not always going to run into opponents that the 3 damage will be great into. Lightning Claws have the same AP. They have rerolls to wound. I guess they get even more benefit if you cast like Fury of the First to give them +1 to hit. So mixed squads here, in my opinion, is just much better. It'll save you 40 points as well. You could put them points to use somewhere else. I don't personally like 2 squads of Terminators. I feel that Terminators are slow, and that's a big problem for me, how slow they are. So I wouldn't run them. I wouldn't run 2 Terminator squads. Obviously, notice that there's no Sangri Guard in this list, so one great thing, I guess, would be to drop 2 hammers, get 2 Lightning Claw guys, that's 195 points, that saves you 20 points, take your 235 points, I think it'd take like a 7-man Sangri Guard, I think that's about 229 points, you give 1 guy an Infernal Pistol, that would be 1 point less. I think that's much more versatile. I think the Sangri Guard are actually really, really good now. I think they were good before, but you almost don't. Well, look at the guy that's just gone like what 8-0 or something, 7-0 at that tournament with Blood Angels. He's got 3 squads of 7 Sangri Guard. He went all swords, which again I don't like, but I mean there's definitely value in those swords against other armies that that have Armor of Contempt now, because axes into Armor of Contempt are pretty low AP now, right? They're just -1 until you get to turn 3. So -1 is very savable. -3, still -2, it's not bad, right? Weaker against orcs, weaker against the custodes, that sort of thing. We then have 3 land speeder tornadoes, heavy flamers on each and a multi-melt on each, and these are a single squad, which I think is the wrong call here as well, because the only reason to have them as a single squad, I guess, would be if you're reviving them. Well, you can't revive vehicles. So I'd run it as a 2 and a 3 if you really want to run. Sorry, a 2 and a 1 if you really want to run tornadoes. But I also think tornadoes are overcosted. I can't. 255 divided by 3 is like 85 points each. Yeah, so you're basically, if you compare it to a regular land speeder that's just got a multi-melta on it, you're basically paying 15 points for a heavy flamer. Tornadoes, I don't know why tornadoes are balanced this bad. They're just badly balanced, I guess. So you're better off running 3 land speeders. You're better off not running them as you're better off running them as individual units rather than a big squad like this, because it means they're more versatile on the table. They can obviously do engage on all fronts. It means more units for something like behind enemy lines. It also means you can reserve them, come in from and move independently, hold multiple objectives, etc., etc. So tornadoes to me feel like the wrong choice. Land speeders, when the opponent chooses to kill land speeders, they die pretty quickly, right? So yeah, I just think you want regular land speeders. Again, I would save the 45 points here. Kieran, you need to. So you'd go over to YouTube. the Blood Angels Commander channel, you would click on Community here, and you'd post your list in the latest community post. Just be aware that if you are not a channel member, the list review time at the moment is about 3 months. We've had so many submissions recently because of the armor contempt changes. I'm prioritizing members. Have been for about a month at this point. Once all the member lists are done, we'll get back to including everybody. Okay, heavy support. We've got a squad of eliminators with the bolt sniper rifles, the instigator carbine. It's okay. I think you're much better off taking las fusils if you're just running one squad. We talked about this at length actually last week's stream. How the bolt rifles don't do enough damage if it's just one squad of guys, right? Like, I think we worked out that they maybe can do like 2 damage a turn to like a standard Space Marine toughness 4 character. So you're never killing a character in a single turn. If the enemy is running a medic or anything like that, they could just heal off the damage that you could do instantly. I guess if you're fighting anything that's T4 above tier 4, toughness 4, you're probably only doing like 1 wound per turn with the eliminators. Maybe maybe you got a couple of lucky 6s and you do a few mortals, but one eliminator squad on their own is not really viable. They could be. I mean, one way to use eliminators would be as a quake bolts, because they obviously have that 2-up ballistic skill, which makes their quake bolts much more reliable. So that is nice, but in general, I guess a single squad of eliminators. I think the rifles is the wrong choice. Obviously, the instigator bolt rifle on the sergeant is good, but I think you'd want to pay the 5 points per model to get the las fusils. I just don't think the snipers are good unless you double down on snipers, and most of the time when we talk about it, we don't feel like snipers are really a thing that Blood Angels need, I would say. Okay. Predator Annihilator. I mean, eliminators are good in cover, right? They got like a 1-up save. So 1-up save ignoring AP -1. They can be very survivable in cover. But yeah, overall, I think that the snipers are definitely they're a lot. I have snipers and las fusils. I think if I was ever going to run them, I'd run the las fusils. Okay, and then we get two Predator Annihilators, Hunter Killer Missile on both, 4 las cannons on both. What is there to say about Predator Annihilators? I can't remember the last time I saw Predator Annihilators in a competitive list. Las cannons are too swingy. You know, like they're D6 damage. You get 4 shots, you hit on 3s, so you maybe make 3 hits. You wound on 3s, so they maybe have to take a couple of saves. They maybe save 1, fail 1, so 1 goes through and it's D6 damage, and then you roll a 1 for damage, and it's a complete waste of your time. I think for 175 points, you can get a laser destroyer, right? Am I right? Is it the same pot? Is it the same cost? Vindicator Laser Destroyer. So Vindicator Laser Destroyer doesn't have Martial Legacy, so it costs you no CP to include it. It's got T8. It's got 11 wounds. What does a Predator have? Like, I know it's got T7, but how many wounds does a Predator have? It's probably 11. Alright, so it's the same 11 wounds. And the Vindicator is 5 points more. So you get +1 toughness. You get heavy 3, strength 9 -3, D3 +3, or heavy 3, strength 10 -4, flat 6. I mean, the Predator, they both have smokescreen, they both have access to the same stratagems. I'd always take a laser destroyer over a Predator, especially if you're going for 4 las cannons on them. They're not, I guess they're not really cost effective. Oh, that's my daughter. I'll be right back. Predator Annihilators. I think I actually have 3 Annihilators. I get 2 of the old ones with the autocannons and the las cannons on the side, and I get 1 with the double autocannon. Sorry, double las cannon, 2 las on the side. I just can't rate las cannons. Last edition, when everybody was running Relic Contemptors, because Relic Contemptors last edition with las cannons were very point effective, and Relic Contemptors last edition had like a 6-up feel no pain, they had ballistic skill of 2+. Everybody was running Relic Contemptors with double las cannons, and they were just better, I think, than Annihilators. I guess like Annihilators to me feels like they just badly need updated. They're not points effective. The fact that you can get a tank that gets 1 less shot but just flat 6 damage on its guns. It's just, and it's higher strength as well, and it's higher AP as well. It just feels like so much better, and it's more toughness. It's just so, there's just so much wrong with the Predator Annihilator. I actually made a video. I think I made a video saying like, why the fuck is the Predator Annihilator so expensive? I called it something like, why is Space Marine armor overcosted or something, and like I pointed out all these things, but like, you know, that was at least a couple of chapter approved ago. It's just like, I don't know, Games Workshop just don't seem to want to balance the Annihilators. They're just bad. So yeah, I mean, this list is going to be hard to do. If you want to build this in a competitive list, I have a lot of problems with it, right? Like I would say you have to get rid of those Annihilators. You either need to go Las Fusils or get a second Eliminator squad. You need to split up your tornadoes and possibly just rip the heavy flamers off them because they are overcosted. Again, I don't know why Games Workshop keep not addressing things like this, because it's kind of frustrating, honestly. Like, a heavy flamer gets like, what? I can't even think of a heavy flamer off the top of my head. Let me look at a tornado. A heavy flamer is like D6 shots, strength 4 -1, right? Heavy flamer, strength 5 -1. Alright, strength 5 rather than strength 4, but like, so realistically it makes 3 hits. 15 points for 3 -1 hits. Like, that's just ludicrous. Like, you can almost buy a multi-melta for that cost. I don't know why a heavy... It's the same as the assault cannon on the tornadoes. Like, the assault cannon, it's because a regular land speeder is 70, and these guys are... You're paying 10 points for an assault cannon. It's just... Sorry, you're paying 20 points for an assault cannon, because the regular one with the multi-melta is 70, right? Yeah, I don't know why on earth you would pay... I don't know why on earth you would pay 20 points for an assault cannon either. So you're paying 15 points for a heavy flame, or you're paying 20 points for an assault cannon or a tornado. Like, there's just too many stuff in the Space Marine rule set, and it sucks because, like, people come back to this hobby all the time when they've been gone for a while. I know I did. I've been gone for years, and I come back, and it's like I'm trying to feel the good army, and it's like I've got 5 Predators. I think I've got 2 Ball Predators, 2 Annihilators, and maybe 1 of the other kind. I can't even remember what it's called. But it's like, I'm not going to field any of them, so it's just 5 Predators that are just going to sit there and do nothing. Same with the land speeders. I got tornadoes I put assault cannons on them. They used to be good. Is it worth getting 3 or 4 boxes of Sangri Guard or get them next year, says JT Money? I have no idea. I recently bought more Sangri Guard. I think that they are a very good unit. I don't suppose they're going to retire them anytime soon, based on they haven't retired Firstborn Death Company, even though we got Primaris Death Company. I guess the question is, do you think that they'll release Primaris Sangri Guard? I can't answer that. I've been wanting that for, like, it's 4 and a bit years since, it's about 4 years since 9th edition came out, and we thought we might get some Primaris Sangri Guard and a Primaris Dante. The rate that they're doing, it seems like they're doing 1 character in 1 unit. Unless we get some sort of Black Templar box, but yeah, I can't answer it. I don't have any clue. 20 points and you lose 2-inch movement, says Daniel. Yeah, so I got a problem with the tornadoes as well. I got a problem with Terminator squads in that I think they're too slow. I think you can run one Terminator squad. Maybe you could run one Assault Terminator squad and one Shooting Terminator squad, but I just think Sangri Guard are going to be so much better. I think Stalkers and auto rifles on Intercessors are kind of cute. They don't really do much damage. I think you're better just, if you're going to run troops, make your troops melee combat units. That's what we do. The Primaris Librarian, I guess he's fine. I would prefer a Librarian with a jump pack. If you're going to run Null Zone, I think that's possibly a lot better just because you have the mobility to make Null Zone really work for you. The Armor and Artificer Armor, I think, is the wrong call. The Emperor's Judgment, I think seeing the rest of your list, I think that's the wrong call as well. I think I would have... I think I would go for something different. I would probably I'd probably use Artisan of War to get... I'd probably take Gift of Foresight. Hold on. Oh, you've taken Wiserator. Okay, so you've got Wiserator. I'd probably take Wiserator, Gift of Foresight, and Armor Indomitus is my 3. And then, yeah, I think you need another power on your Librarian. So I think hopefully Nico is come back to the hobby recently. He has only joined the channel recently, so hopefully he's just come back to the hobby recently. And this isn't a super competitive list. This is him building with what he's got, and he's looking for feedback. And I guess that would be my feedback. Do I think Vindicator Laser Destroyers are better than Predators? Yes. Would I run 2 of them? I'm not sure. I think maybe you would run 1 of them and something else. I think if you're going to run a bit of heavy support, I think like one thing that can maybe deal with anti-tank and one thing that can maybe deal with anti-infantry. And I guess that's why a lot of people like Dreadnoughts, because Dreadnoughts can kind of do a bit of both. And I guess a Redemptor Dreadnought isn't a bad choice. It's not as good as it was, but it's certainly not a bad choice. Highland Phoenix was calling the SG meta 6 months ago. I mean, Steel Rain's been calling the SG meta for a long time. I still think Sangri Guard are weak into -1 damage enemies. I think the problem is that the -1 damage enemies aren't seeing as much, like, I can't remember the last time I saw a Death Guard. Like, there's been a lot of tournaments recently, I guess, that I've seen like the top 8, and I haven't seen Death Guard placing in any of those tournaments. So are people just not playing Death Guard, or are Death Guard just seriously still bad, I guess? When picking Terminator units, I am also strongly convinced Assault Terminators are lowest competitiveness. I pick Relics first. I mean, there's a little... I guess Lightning Claws on Relics or Chain Fists on Relics is fine as well. Assault Terminators can certainly survive, but I suppose you could argue other Terminators can survive now as well, and they can be a little bit cheaper. I suppose it depends on what you run into, right? Steel Rain was calling SG meta when Death Guard and Dreadnoughts were still popular, though. Yeah, I mean, I guess the mass dropping of Dreadnoughts. And is it... I guess it's just Redemptors and Relic Contemptors. They both got hit with points increases. Arguably, I thought the points increases on both units were too harsh. Games Workshop need to work on that, right? Like, they need to, when they increase points on stuff, they need to find a balance where they're not just completely removing things from the meta, because that's what they did. That's what they've done on both the Redemptors and the Relic Contemptors. They just basically almost completely removed them. Yeah, I like the idea of 125 point Venerable Dread. I mean, it's fine, Rilo, but like, what weapon can you really use on it? I mean, like, it can't really bring fire support, right? It can bring a multi-melta. 125 points for a multi-melta is average. I mean, yeah, some people never thought Sangri Guard were weak, but previously, before Armor of Contempt, and hell, even with Armor of Contempt, if you leave a squad of Sangri Guard in the open, you charge something, you kill it, you can't consolidate into the objective, or you end up left in the open, you'll still lose the whole squad. They're still not that survivable. Okay, so yeah, Nico. I was going to say, OBSEC, I guess, is about an 8. Anti-armor horde. I mean, we've got very little anti-horde firepower here. Like, I guess the heavy flamers on the tornadoes, they definitely need to split up. I guess you can get some anti-horde firepower out of the eliminators, but it's minor at best. I guess your incursors can do a tiny little bit. I'm going to say anti-horde is very weak. Anti-monster is weak as well, even though you've got like essentially 8 las cannons here. 8 las cannons, 3 multi-meltas. You got a lot of thunderhammers. I guess you've got 12 thunderhammers. You got librarian dreadnought as well. You really need to add unleash rage there. I think I mentioned that already. So yeah, I mean you've got a lot of firepower. It's just not optimal, I guess, into monsters. I think I just really dislike 350 points on las cannons that are gonna be swingy as all hell. Mobility wise, you only really got one jump unit. So if we talk about Blood Angels mobility being our strongest thing, being able to pick and choose our engagements, I guess this is a low scoring list on that as well. We've got no whirlwind, so that counts out fight last. And Overwatch, we do have 3 denies. We do have a couple of units for actions. We do have like a lot of 3 damage weapons. I think we said 9 CP. Yep, and we've got Soul Warden, which is nice. But that's really only our protection against mortals. And I don't know, maybe like a 7. Like, it doesn't feel like a 9th edition list, Nico. It feels like, I don't even know if it feels like an 8th edition. It feels like you've just come back and these are the models that you have. Hopefully that's what it is. And yeah, I think I made a lot of points that you could make this better with. Toughness is barely a thing in this edition, says Rezio. I guess. 3 Sangri Guard units were the way to run Blood Angels from day 1 of 9th. We spent most of the edition trying to find other competitive ways to play Blood Angels. Our supplement was terrible. Well, I mean, I guess some people played them that way. I thought my army that had a mix of dreadnoughts was actually pretty good. I enjoyed the 2 tournaments I went to, and I ran 2 dreadnoughts at one and 3 in the other, and I generally enjoyed them. I wouldn't say the supplement has been terrible. I guess you guys can disagree with it in the chat. I would say the supplement was average, and I would say there's a lot of above average supplements that have come out. We lost some of the most powerful tricks that we had, I guess, and some of the other armies have been getting really powerful tricks. If we still had like the 3d6 charge on arrival from Deep Strike was huge. Losing that was huge, right? That added such a level of reliability to our Deep Strike that we've never been able to recover from, I feel like. I suppose you're right. Angel Sacrifice, though, is huge. Angel Sacrifice and the fact that we can make that Warlord captain on a bike super survivable is actually brilliant. I really enjoyed that this edition. I guess what I haven't enjoyed is the loss of the 3d6 charging and the loss of Upon Wings of Fire being the same term relocate, because that was really good as well. Okay, let's check out Steve's list. Hey, Commander, was thinking about taking this list in ITC in June. Shooting is light, but given how mobile everything is, Infernal Pistols should be more useful than normal. Infiltrators, Whirlwind, Assault Intercessors, and Contemptor to stay in the backfield. It sounds like this is going to be similar to my list. Incursors to perform actions and guerrilla tactics. Death Company can Forlorn Fury turn 1, buffed by the Priest, the Captain, and the Ancient, or if I'm going second, I can buff a Contemptor to hit on 2s and reroll 1s instead. 1 Sangri Guard unit goes with a Captain, the other with the Ancient and Priest. Vanguards can combat squads, still can deal with chaff, and the other to perform actions. Highly mobile with the banner stuff, can use Upon Wings of Fire, the Ancient to drop OBSEC if needed. Curious to hear your thoughts. Okay, so 2 extra relics. It's 2,000 points, 6 CP. Okay, so we're right on the edge there of the number of CP I like to begin a battle with. Captain on a bike, Artisan of War, Gift of Foresight, Adamantium Mantle, Infernal Pistol, Armor Indomitus. He is the Warlord. Okay. Sangri Priest, Chief Apothecary, Jump Pack, Teeth of Terra. Cool. Makes sense. Assault Intercessors, Incursors, and Infiltrators. I guess Infiltrators probably to protect the backfield. Just scrolling down, he does have a Whirlwind. I'm not sure you need Infiltrators if you have a Whirlwind. I mean, a Whirlwind plus a squad of Incursors or any other troops in the backfield. It's a pretty big footprint, but I guess Infiltrators can help make that super secure. 5-man Death Company with 4 Thunderhammers. A Relic Contemptor with a Cyclone and 2 twin Volkite Coverings. Sangri Ancient with the Infernal Pistol and Rites of War and Wrath of Baal. So his 3 characters are the Sangri Priest, the Captain, and the Sangri Ancient. We then have 2 7-man squads of Sangri Guard, and that is swords and axes mixed for the most part. A 10-man squad of Vanguard veterans, a lot of Lightning Claws and Storm Shields. Basically, that's all the whole squad, but a bunch of guys with double Lightning Claws. And then a Whirlwind with the Castellan Launcher to keep it nice and cheap. Okay. Interesting, yeah. So, where I have a Terminator squad, he has a Death Company squad. And where I have an Infiltrator squad, he has an Incursor squad. And where I have Mephiston, he has a Sanguinary Priest. I think that's only changes. I think these lists are pretty identical. Oh, I've got a Land Speeder. I've got some Eradicators. There must be something else different. So I have a Terminator squad instead of this Death Company. My Vanguard veterans is half the size. And then I have the Eradicators and the Land Speeder. Yeah, I mean, I guess it... Oh, I don't have the Cyclone on my Relic Contemptor. Okay. So, I mean, this is a variant on my list. I mean, I could run this exact list. This is pretty close to what I'm running anyway. 1 Dreadnought, because they made the Dreadnoughts too expensive, in my opinion. The Volcon should never be 15 points per arm. They should have been 10. They're fine. I just don't think they're great. 6 CP is a little gnarly, I guess, but you do have Rites of War, you do have Wrath of Baal, you do have the Chief Apothecary with the Selfless Healer. It's good with 2 squads of Sangri Guard, I guess. We got the Captain on the bike, who's got all the snazzy stuff. Infiltrators feel like they're probably not needed, but I mean, it's fine to have them. And I guess one Dreadnought is your only fire support. I mean, I guess you've got like 14 shots coming out the Sangri Guard. Highland Phoenix never likes running 1 Dreadnought. I mean, if you just run the Dreadnought with Volcons, you have a 45-inch range. So, unless you're playing up against Tau, you can probably outrange your opponent, right? Like, unless it's like Battlesuits or something. Broadsides, sorry. The Volcon can probably be positioned pretty well to outrange a bunch of stuff. I mean, I like this list. Seeing this list makes me reconsider, like, I'm running Mephiston, like, maybe I should just drop Mephiston and run a Sangri Priest with the Chief Apothecary. Like, I haven't run the Chief Apothecary Sangri Priest for a while. He's a cool unit. Obviously, he costs a CP, but Mephiston doesn't. But, I mean, arguably, I guess, putting a unit into Assault Doctrine is just as valuable as Unleash Rage. Yeah, it is just as valuable. And I guess if you start rezzing some models, it's just as good. I guess maybe I should just run a Sangri Priest over Mephiston. I've enjoyed playing Mephiston, though. I mean, I guess he's very swingy, right? I started playing him because they dropped him to 140 points. I mean, I guess I'm pretty sure I could fit him in and I could run the Sangri Priest instead of Mephiston. Have no Psyker then, but I've kind of fallen in love with the Ancient with Rights of War. I think he's very good. The Wrath of Baal obviously is really nice. Overall, I mean, I like this list. The only thing I question, I don't know if I have a lot to question on this list, actually. I feel like the 15 points on the Infiltrators is like a minor thing that I could question. Maybe the Cyclone Missile Launcher could be questioned based on what Highland Phoenix says. If you're just running one Dreadnought, it seems very scary to ever be within 36 inches because you'll just get shot and killed. The 2 squads of Sangri Guard look good, all the Lightning Claws. I mean, Lightning Claws, one thing to say about Lightning Claws is I only recently just played into an army that had Armor of Contempt, and Lightning Claws are definitely, like in turn 1 and 2, they're not good into Armor of Contempt anymore. You know, just -1 essentially because of Armor of Contempt makes Lightning Claws feel like genuinely a lot weaker. Thunderhammer and the Vanguard Veteran Sergeant, yeah, I think I would prefer that over the Infiltrators. I think Incursors would be absolutely fine. For a few weapon drops, you could take 4 or 5 Assault Centurions with Hurricane Bolters instead of the Dreadnought. I mean, I guess you could. The problem with the Centurions, I feel like, is you probably have to reserve the Centurions, right? Unless you're just going to try and get them across the board. Every time I try and get 3 Centurions across the board, they get blown off the table. So maybe Centurions is one of these units where like you need 5 of them, and if you've got 5 of them, you're looking good. But 3 of them is just kind of 3 of them doesn't work. I mean, I don't know if I could. I was gonna say I don't know if I could order a squad of Centurions, get them built and painted in like 2 or 3 weeks. Probably not. You guys have seen the speed of my painting. I mean, I guess I could slap 3 colors on them. Okay, but no, I mean overall, I don't have much to say about this list. I don't like starting on 60p, but I don't think you have much choice. If you're going to do this Chapter Master, he's going to cost you. What's the 2 extra relics? Sorry. Oh, he's taking Teeth of. So he's taking Teeth of Terra, Selfless Healer, Hero of the Chapter, and Wrath of Baal. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like starting on 6 CP. Maybe. I think the Teeth of Terra is good on the Priest, though, but, like, maybe I would just not run it and have 7 CP. Or maybe I just wouldn't run Adamantium Mantle and have 7 CP. I feel like starting on 6 is edging it. Okay. Thoughts on scoring, I guess. OBSEC 8.5, but 9.5 because you've got Wrath of Baal. Anti-Horde Infantry clear. I mean, you've got 1 Contemptor, you've got 14 Sangri Guard giving you 28 bolter shots. You get some other inconsequential bolter fire here or there, I guess. Anti-Horde is probably fine. Maybe even 8.5 if you throw Lightning Claw combat squads into them. Anti-Vehicle Monster. 3 damage weapons, I guess, is your 4 Thunderhammers, your Cyclone Missile Launcher, your 3 Infernal Pistols, and then another Infernal Pistol and a Thunderhammer. So maybe slightly low on 3 damage weapons. I think we've got, what's that give us? That gives us 3, 4, 8, 10. I guess you could clamp the Volcons maybe. Say 11 3 damage weapons, slightly low on 3 damage weapons. So that's probably where I'd look at changing things to have some more 3 damage weapons or above. 3 damage or above, I always speak about. Mobility with Wrath of Baal and all those jump units seems like it'd be very good. 2 units that can guerrilla tactics as well, which is also really useful. So mobility maybe like a 8.5, maybe even a 9. Probably 8.5 because we've got the Dreadnought in there. So we've got the fight last. We've got no denies. We do have plenty of units for actions. We're goodish on 3 weapons. We're kind of right on the border of CP, so it's denies CP. Got slum protection for mortals with a priest. We can always do revives, and then we've just got 3 characters. So it's like an 8.5 or a 9 here as well. I like this list a lot. I mean, it's not a million, like I said, it's not a million miles from what I'm playing, and maybe 6 CP isn't bad. I think it's low, because if you want to guerrilla tactics a couple of units, and you want to Forlorn Fury or Death Company, and maybe even what was the one, Refusal to Die in the Death Company. You're clutching in the barrel of CP very, very quickly. You're very, very low very, very quickly. All Dante needs is damage buff on the axe, assuming he's not Primaris. Yeah, I mean, Dante for 165 points could honestly have a 3 damage weapon and 1 more wound and be Primaris, and then I would actually kind of like him, I think. I probably will talk about the list that Stephen's running. I might reach out to Stephen as well. We'll see. I don't know if, I mean, he's got his own YouTube channel. You can obviously check out his channel on Vanguard Tactics. I was going to say .com. I don't think it is .com. It might be, but I mean, if you search YouTube for Vanguard Tactics, you'll find his channel. I'm sure he's going to do a video on his list as well. Yeah. And he's running Dante, so, I mean, some people, I guess, feel like Dante can be very useful. I never actually checked. Does Dante's Warlord? I imagine Dante's is Warlord. I just don't know if I think his Warlord is good enough. I guess it helps. He's got 3 squads of 7 Sangri Guard. Not failing leadership on those big squads of Sangri Guard. There's going to be some value in that for sure, I suppose. Because yeah, Sangri Guard, like I said, they can take a beating. They're not that survivable. They're more survivable than they were, but they're not that survivable. But yeah, so I think overall this is about a 44. I like this list a lot. Couple more 3 damage weapons in there. Couple small changes, maybe the Cyclone Missile Launcher, maybe starting with 1 more CP. I don't have a lot more I would say about this list. I think it's decent. I guess, yeah, just Lightning Claws into Armor of Contempt units feels pretty crap now. I guess it feels like Lightning Claws and Armor of Contempt units feels like Chainswords used to feel. And you know, when you know yourself, when you throw Chainsword guys into Space Marines or something, they really don't kill anything. So I think I threw a squad of like 5 Lightning Claw Vanguard veterans with rerolls into like a squad of it wasn't Berserkers, but it was basically one wound world bearer guys that were in power armor. I think they're called Raptors or something, and they basically did no damage. How dumb I am for only running Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields on every single Marine I have. I mean, it does sound a little bit dumb, I guess. Thunder Hammers are decent though. Storm Shields are decent. But it's maybe a little bit dumb. Okay, hello, Commander BA Gold. First time sharing a list. Hope it makes it into the list show. Still very new to playing, only with my childhood mates who are as new as me, but I wanted to try something more serious list. Friends are on Necrons, Grey Knights, Thousand Suns, Admech, and Guard. Excuse me, the main idea on the list is Death Company to Black Rage and chop some big units. Incursors and Blade Guard veterans taking points and holding objectives. Redemptors and Tech Marines holding main board and dealing soaking damage. To have the Librarian Vanguard vets take one side of the board, have Dante and the Sangri Guard to move to the other side, mirroring Eliminators to hold the back line. Sangri Priestess moving across healing, getting people into combat doctrines. Second reason on this list, we are going for Relentless Assault, Oath of Moment, Titan Hunter, bring it down, retrieve that one day as I need. And finally, list below, thank you for all the great content and a big love from Singapore. Alright, big thanks back to you. I have some friends that used to work in Singapore, but Nice to get some people from Singapore watching. Cool. He's so efficient with CP, and I think with the coming changes, we need to adapt to having less. It won't be no CP. I guess it'll be less CP. Rilo. I guess we'll see how many CP we actually start with. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I've been enjoying running Mephiston, is because I start my list with like 9 CP or something, because he's a character that doesn't really need CP investment, but I guess maybe I just need to start with 8 and take a Selfless Healer Sangri Priest. I haven't run the Priest in ages, so maybe I just need to do that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Okay. I mean, I am 3 games away from a tournament, so maybe I need to drop Mephiston, because I've said before he can be a bit unreliable. And I seem to roll a lot of 1s when I'm playing Mephiston, so maybe I feel a little bit sad about that. I've enjoyed giving Mephiston a run out. At 155 points, I was not interested in him at all. At 140 points, I think he's okay. He's a fun character to play. If you haven't run Mephiston, then I guess run him for some games. He is swingy, but he can be fun. Alright, we're looking at Commander Dante, and he is the Warlord, which is fine. You get the extra CP in there. Highland Phoenix says, lucky 13 months of membership, potentially don't need Selfless Healer to save some points. It says 16 months, Highland Phoenix. You must have lost track of time. Thank you so much for 16 months of support. That is awesome. I think I have the points, though. I think I can make it work. And maybe have a quick look at my list at the end of the stream and see if I can make it work. Alright. Sangri Priest, Soul Warden, Teeth of Terra. So I see this quite a lot. Soul Warden ran on a Sangri Priest. I guess it's just to get even more protection against mortals. I feel like if you had another character, it might be better to run it on, so you get 2 bubbles of protection against mortals, but this seems fine. So what is this? This is a patrol detachment. So 2 squads of Incursors. We got our Blade Guard Veterans. It's a 4-man for 140 points. We got the Death Company with 5 hammers for 190 points. And we got a squad of Eliminators with Last Fusils. I like all this so far. The second detachment is the Vanguard. We got an extra relic in here. We've got our Librarian Dreadnought. So why is he... He's got 4 characters, I guess. That's why he's running the 2 detachments. The Librarian Dreadnought, who's upgraded with Unleash Rage, Wings, and Quickening. So kind of how I was running Mephiston, but he has given him he's given them Psychic Mastery, so we get +1 on our cast. So a little bit of reliability. I guess 40 points is the question. Is it worth 40 points to get +1 to your cast? I mean, the Librarian Dreadnought can do a bunch of damage, similar to Mephiston. If I'm running Librarian Dreadnought, I'm probably going to roll a shitload of 1s. So he's probably not going. I don't like the I think the biggest weakness of the Librarian Dreadnought is his weapon skill of 3-up. So, I think Mephiston is stronger with his weapon skill of 2-up, and I still managed to fluff a bunch of his attacks. So, yeah, Librarian Dreadnought, 180 points. Primaris Tetmarine, who's been upgraded with Master of the Forge, and he's given them the Vox Aspiratum, which increases his auras by 3 inches. I'm going to have to quickly read the datasheet for the Primaris Tetmarine, because what Vox Aspiratum is add 3 inches to the bearer's auras. So what does the Primaris Tetmarine do? Is his 2 abilities auras, are they? Abilities. No, neither of them are auras. Okay, so why is he taking Vox Aspiratum? I think this is possibly a mistake. I don't think that will do anything for your Tetmarine. I think he's thinking it will add 3 inches to both of these abilities, but they would need to say, like, bracket aura in their names, such as, like, if you look at a captain, it will say aura, so that will give the 3 inch bonus to that. The Vox Aspiratum will do nothing on the Tetmarine as far as I'm aware. I think it's just... The limitation of the Tetmarine is he needs to be within 3 at the start of the turn. So you need to advance the Tetmarine, keep him up with vehicle, stuff like that. There's no real way around that. You got 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, Frag Storms, Heavy Onslaughts, regular Onslaughts, and the Redemptor Fist. I'm really surprised to see Heavy Onslaughts. I don't rate Heavy Onslaught cannons at all, and I didn't rate them previously. It'll be Andrew that's playing the Knights tomorrow, yeah. I didn't rate them before, and like I would definitely not rate them now. They're like into Armor of Contempt units, there'll be no AP. Yeah, it's 12 shots, but it's no AP. I think you're better taking the plasma. As much as I hate the reliability on the plasma with the D6 shots, I think it's the right call to take the plasma. I mean, the Redemptor is usually going to kill whatever it's in combat with the fist. Yeah, it can fluff its attacks, but I would take the plasmas. I'd also take the storm bolters just because you can shoot them in combat. The frag storm grenades, are they going to be as reliable as 4 storm bolters or 8 in half range? I would say no. Okay, we got the Sangri Guard, who is a 7-man squad, all swords. We've got Lightning Claw Vanguard veterans with 1 Thunderhammer in there, and that's the list. So 4 characters, and a lot of points invested on characters here. Actually, you've got, what's that? 310, 410. 590 points in characters. I mean, like, that feels like far too much. I guess one of them is arguably a dreadnought, but 590 points in characters feels like an awful lot. You get the 2 troop choices, Blade Guard and Death Company, Sangri Guard and Van Vets, and then a couple of Redemptors and the Tech Marine. I mean, on paper, it doesn't sound too bad in terms of what you've actually got. Blade Guard, Death Company, Sangri Guard, Vanguard Veterans, 2 Redemptors. I feel like I ran something similar in the past. So I definitely ran Double Patrol before myself with like squads of Incursors and Blade Guard. I feel like Blade Guard are more a defensive unit than an offensive unit. A couple of Redemptors hanging out next to Tech Marine is fine. I would probably put Soul Warden on the Tech Marine actually here, so that the priest can keep your troops alive. The Tech Marine Soul Warden can help you keep those dreadnoughts alive. 7 CP, 199, 1,998 points. I don't like 4 character lists because it means that the enemy can just pick Assassinate and usually get a reasonable, if you have 4 characters, probably they can pick Assassinate and get 10 points out of you, 9 or 10 points, pretty easily. One squad of Sangri Guard as your main melee threat feels. So I went to a tournament with pretty much this list exactly like this, right? And I felt like I relied so heavily on that one squad of Sangri Guard. I felt like if they died, I was in deep shit, and I had to hide them. I mean, typically I hide my units in obscuring terrain anyway, but it felt like in one of the games I ended up making like an early charge in turn 2 or something. I killed the unit, but then they were exposed and I lost them, and then I felt like I was really struggling for overwhelming melee threat after that. So personally, I don't like just one strong squad of. You jump the Death Company forward in turn 1, then they're dead potentially. 5 Vanguard veterans with Lightning Claws aren't going to do that much work anymore now, and Sangri Guard, one squad of Sangri Guard feels like there's a lot of weight on those Sangri Guard shoulders. Any play with Honor Vehemout in Sangri Guard Assault Centurion heavy list, prolonged combat does happen against the toughest enemies. I mean, I guess that's why that list we saw a few weeks ago, Highland Phoenix had the Sanguiner, right? I guess just because he can just join the fight and then make those attacks, give those additional attacks. It would affect the Warden of the Ancient. We didn't take that. Yeah, I mean, Warden of the Ancient has very little value, Jacob, on Blood Angels, because we already got the +1 to wound, so giving +1 strength on a Dreadnought's weapon isn't really that great. If you take buffing characters in a Whirlwind, you can protect them. Yeah, I mean, you can, but I think 590 points on HQ is too big an investment. I think I said before that 3 characters and probably like 450 points is kind of my limit. Like, I just don't want to be spending more than that on characters. I actually prefer to spend around 400 if it's possible. Okay. So the Vox of Spiritman is a bit of a mistake. The Librarian Dreadnought has a heavy flamer, I guess that's fine. I would probably run him with a Meltagun if it was me. I like his powers, I like it as Chief Librarian. I like Double Redemptor, I just don't like Onslaught Cannon Cannons and Frag Storms. I feel like there's a lot of weight on the Sangri Guard. 2 troop choices is fine. I guess Blade Guard as a defensive unit, maybe. And then the Soul Warden, Teeth of Terra combo, and the Priest. I'd probably, like I said, you already said you're going middle with the Tet Marine and the Dreadnoughts, and you want that to be survivable, so I'd probably move the Soul Warden onto the Tet Marine. The other thing you could consider, I guess, would be Quake Bolts is good on a Tet Marine. Works, I mean, it synergizes with just about everything that you've got. Vanguard Veterans, Redemptors, Death Company, they all get value from a Tet Marine bringing Quake Bolts, so that could be that as well. Alright, let's have a little bit of look at scoring. We got 2 OBSEC units, so I think it's probably just a 7.5. We don't have anything that's going to grant or remove OBSEC. I didn't see anything in the list. Okay. I think you should have something in your list that grants or removes OBSEC. I think you should have Visage of Death, or I think you should have there's the other one, Rights of War. I think those are both really powerful, especially if you're ever going to take stuff like Stranglehold. They're going to add a lot of strength to your list. Anti-Horde Infantry. I mean, I guess you've got a lot of firepower in the Redemptors for Anti-Horde. I guess that's probably why you've picked them. And I just hate the Gatling cannons now. 0 AP guns are just going to do nothing, I guess. I mean, even the Sangri Guard Bolter's got a lot crapper into Armor of Contempt units. I think I'm going to go 7.5 here. 3 damage weapons for anti-monsters then. The Redemptor Fists, the Tet Marine, the Librarian Dreadnought, that gives us 4. The 2 Las Fusils, the 4 or 5 Thunderhammers, so we're up to 11. I think that's it. So 11 3 damage weapons. It's borderline enough 3 damage weapons. We'll give you a 9 here as well. Mobility-wise, the Redemptors and Tet Marine aren't mobile, but they don't really need to be. The Blade Guard are definitely not mobile. The Eliminators, I guess, aren't mobile, but they don't need to be. So maybe like an 8. And then Specialization. We don't have Fight Last or the Overwatch Denial. We don't have... Oh, well, we've got Denies because we do have that Chief Librarian. Units for actions is maybe a little bit low, and that we've just got the 2 troop choices. I guess Blade Guards can perform actions, but not really effectively anymore. 3 damage weapons is potentially low. Starting CP was 7. Yeah, 7. Which is okay, borderline. Protection against Immortals is decent from the Priest, but could be better if you moved the Soul Warden. And then 3-4 characters. So I think it's the start of a competitive list, I think. And I mean, if I compared this to the list that I ran at Clan Wars, which I'm going to compare it in a second. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think there's work to do here. I don't think it's bad, but I think it needs work. Clan Wars. Do I have this? Yeah. Okay, let this load. Stephen Box is doing very well with Blood Angels. Yeah, we've been talking about it a little bit. So when I went to Clan Wars, I ran a captain on a bike, a librarian with Might of Null Zone. I had an infiltrator squad, a 7 Sangri Guard, and this was the list that I said I felt there was too much pressure on the squad of Sangri Guard. 6 Vanguard veterans. I actually had one with a Thunderhammer, a tap bite with multi-melt on the Whirlwind, so I guess rather than Eliminators, I had that. I had the Tech Marine, I had a Primaris chaplain on a bike, and I even felt this list was too many points on characters, and this is that's like 205 plus 305, so this was 510 points on characters, and I felt that was too much. The list we just looked at was 590. I actually had a 5-man squad of Blade Guard. I had 2 company veterans, but that's back when they could actually do actions pretty effectively. I had 2 Redemptors back when they were 15 points less. That's fucking madness that they're 15 points less, considering nothing changed. Yeah, I mean, and then an attack bike, and I had Inceptors. Yeah, the Whirlwind was another detachment, wasn't it? For a minute, I was like, did I not have a Whirlwind? No. And again, Inceptors were better back then. They were much better for engaging all fronts and stuff like that. So this list was similar. I guess rather than the Death Company, I had a few attack bikes, Inceptors, and company veterans, and had slightly cheaper characters. But yeah, I felt like... this list did, but not bad. It went 4-1, right? You better hope he. I think he's more likely to get the. I think he's more likely to get the Centurions nerfed, which is surprising because when you compare Centurions point for point against like what the hell are they called? Mortifiers? I think Mortifiers are like way better. Like just way better. I don't know if you saw the game, or is it not Mortifiers? Is it Penitent Engines? No, I think it's Mortifiers. Yeah, because they get an 8-inch move. They have the same weapon and ballistic skill. They have the same toughness and strength. They have an additional wound. Yes, they only have a 4-up armor, but they do have a 5-up feel no pain. If a model is equipped with 2 buzz blades, it gets double the number of attacks. So, or is it if it gets 5 attacks, but it can do a sweep or something? Yeah, it can make 2 hit rolls instead of 1. That's what it can do. So you can get 10 attacks per mortifier, and don't they also have each channel model makes you can reroll its hits as well? So yeah, like mortifiers are just oh, and what is it? When they explode, they can fight after dying or something as well. Yeah, they can't perform actions, but let's be fair, he's not performing actions on his big Centurion squad, and Mortifiers are... I think they might have gone up 5 points. They used to be the exact same cost as the Sangri Guard, I think they used... as the Centurions. They used to be the same 55 points. So maybe Mortifiers went up 5 points, which is probably justified, because I thought, like, Mortifiers against Centurions, I just thought Mortifiers were way better. They're faster, they hit more often, they can do sweeps and stuff, they've got that feel no pain. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's tonight's lists. Good evening, Oddsods, how you doing? The Sanguiner is a posh angel sacrifice. Yeah, to me the Sanguiner feels like you're paying 140 points, and maybe you can get angel sacrifice off, maybe you can't. Yeah, so I really like Steve's list. I think that maybe makes me think that, like, alright, as much as I don't want to drop my fist on, maybe I will. Steve's list was very similar to what I'm running, just feels a little bit more competitive. Nico's list feels like it was a little bit dated. He's using models that are maybe a little bit out of date. And Lion Hobbyist's list, I guess, it feels like... If you compare that to the list that I just showed you on stream of my 4-1 in a tournament, it feels very decent. It feels very similar to that list. I just think that list had a couple of weaknesses. And I think one of the weaknesses is probably too many characters. One of the weaknesses as well is too much pressure on that one squad of Sangri Guard. If you lose them, it can be very difficult, I think, because... I had the exact same actually. I said like my sergeant, my Vanguard veteran squad had a Thunderhammer. Vanguard veterans, I guess, are going to feel a bit weaker with -1 now into Armor of Contempt units. They're going to feel a lot weaker. So I think in this list you're just putting too much pressure on the Sangri Guard. I guess maybe your Librarian Dreadnought can pick up some slack. Maybe your Death Company with Thunderhammers can pick up some slack. And I think it's definitely a valid choice, right? If you want to run Double Redemptor and you want to run Tech Marine, obviously Vox of Spiritman is the wrong choice here. But if you want to run that, I think it's totally fine to run it. I think I would run it with the Plasmas because I don't think the heavy onslaughts are good at all. But I mean, I had some fairly decent success with that double dreadnought list, and also the triple dreadnought list that I started running after that. But I don't think I'm in any rush to run them soon. I guess they don't play to the strength of Blood Angels, right? They play to the strength of like what the Space Marine Codex was good at that exact point. And I guess the Space Marine Codex is a little bit. I mean, it got hit with the nerf, I guess, a little bit. So okay, this was my list. And you really want me to drop Mephiston, don't you? So we'll remove Mephiston. Sangri Priest. Chief Apothecary, Jump Pack, Hero of the Chapter. Hero of the Chapter, Selfless Healer? Yeah, so I'm 15 points over, but I know that I've got an Infernal Pistol on this guy, which I could easily drop. Which I probably will drop, just make that an Angelus Bolt Gun, and I know I've got an Infernal Pistol somewhere else I feel like I can easily drop. Is it on this other squad of Sangri Guard? Bolt. Infernal Pistol, yeah, so I could drop that as well. So at that point I just need to find 5 points. Do I need Selfless Healer? Is that not the whole point of having Selfless Healer, right? The other interesting thing, I guess, Highland Phoenix is like the Redemptor for 160, 175, 170 points are 3 Centurions, not 165 points. So 3 Centurions would actually fix that point difference. So I could drop the Redemptor and run 3 Centurions. I guess it depends. The thing about the Relic Contemptor is it's swingy, right? It is 100% swingy. Just this week against Brett, I shot it at like a squad of Khorne Berserkers and killed one model, and then the next squad I shot it at, I rolled a bunch of 6s. And no, just with Flamers. It would be 160 points just with Flamers. I wouldn't be able to afford the Hurricane Bolters. But yeah, the thing about the Redemptor is it's just swingy, right? And it also, that would cost me... Would start with 7 CP, which I don't like. Stephen didn't run Selfless Healer, as far as I'm aware. Oh, did he not? Really? I would run Selfless Healer if I was running 5 Centurions. Sorry, you could drop the Contemptor. Yeah, the problem with the Contemptor is I know it's swingy. So, like in a tournament setting, the difference, I suppose, is that the Contemptor can probably stay alive for the entire game because he can sit at 45 inches away. You'll always find targets for him to blast. I guess if you drop the Contemptor, you get 1 CP back, though, right? Death Company with 3 hammers is 160 points. It's the same as the Contemptor Centurion, and you're sure to deliver quite a punch with turn 1 with Death Company. Death Company with 3 hammers is 160 points. I mean, I just was painting Death Company, so I had 3 with hammers the other night. Death Company Marines, jump packs, hammer, hammer, hammer. I mean, you could do that, and then you could have them as a throwaway turn 1 unit. I mean, I never Forlorn Fury Death Company. It's something like I literally never do. I still prefer 2 heavy plasma and cyclone for 165 over twin Volkites and no missiles for 170. Is the heavy plasma is D3 shots, right? I only have one of those heavy plasma cannons though. Heavy D3, so average is 2, I guess. I mean, I guess arguably one of these with 2 heavy plasma cannons and a cyclone missile launcher at 165. Yeah, you're probably right. That's not bad. I mean, it makes it all 106. It makes it all like 36-inch range, I guess. Good evening, how you doing? Who actually runs that? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen anyone run it, I suppose. But I mean, if you're just trying to do multiple damage, if that's your plan for the Dreadnought, that's not a bad plan, right? Yeah, so I just need to save 5 points. Do I think I need the Dreadnought, I guess, is the question. I mean, arguably 5 Death Company with 3 Thunder Hammers is going to do more damage than a Dreadnought will ever do, right? It's just a case of like, if the Dreadnought can sit on an objective 40 inches away and shoot every turn. I'm undecided. I mean, I don't love Contemptor Dreadnoughts anymore. I mean, I don't know what this glitch. Yeah, I arguably lost a tournament because of Contemptor Dreadnoughts, right? Like on the final day when I needed them to do well. I don't know if I did any more. I had one of those games where like everything went against me in that game. Like I needed the Contemptors to do a bunch of mortal wounds. They do nothing. I needed to make a ton of my 5-up saves for Soul Warden. I made none of them. I then needed to make a ton of Sangri Guard saves on like 5-up. I made none of them. So yeah, okay. I mean, you want me to try it? You want me to try 5 Death Company? They've got too many weapon options apparently. Oh yeah, because they didn't untick bolter and pistols. So try a Sangri Priest, who is a selfless healer. We'll try Death Company, Sangri Ancient, Sangri Guard, Terminator Squad, Vanguard Veteran Squad. I was actually wondering at this point if I should just go the 3rd Sangri Guard squad. Could I make the Vanguard Veteran? I don't like the Vanguard Veterans anymore. The Armor of Contempt has fucked them. They don't do much damage into tough enemies anymore, right? I mean, I could make the Eradicators a 4-man squad, and I could lose the Land Speeder, and then do the 3 Sangri Guard. Why not go Patrol Vanguard for more points into elites? I don't want to give up the CP, Knight. I really don't want to give up the CP. Maybe if I was running I mean, maybe you can do that if you run Dante, but I want to keep the Chapter Master on the bike. I love him. He's my favorite thing, I think. I don't think any Blood Angels player has won a tournament with that Chapter Master on the bike. So he's my character. I was the one that made him. I need to win. We're seeing a lot less -1 damage. We are seeing a lot less -1 damage. I mean, it sucks if you end up playing against Death Guard tournament, I guess. But I was going to say, but I did say I was playing against Chaos Knights, and they have a -1 damage strat. Sure, so maybe this is what I have to run. I mean, I've been running the Terminators for a while. Um, Terminators are a durable unit, and in this list, they're designed to. I mean, I'm probably going to run behind enemy lines, so I'm just going to drop the Terminators in his deployment zone as early as I can drop them in there, and they're just going to stay there because they're slow, and they're just going to score 10 points if they can survive out the game, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, the Terminators are fine, I guess. I guess I'd put that Infernal Pistol back into the squad of Sangri Guard, or have the Ancient with Infernal Pistol. Yeah, fuck it, the Ancient can have the Infernal Pistol. He's more likely to survive, I think, to blast off an Infernal Pistol. I don't have any relics. I went to buy relics maybe a month ago or something. Highland Phoenix. They don't. I don't think they sell them at the moment. Like nowhere had relic Terminators, right? Yeah, like I don't think you can get relic Terminators anymore. No, they're just out of stock. I think they're going to make them in plastic. I thought they were plastic in these boxes. I've ever owned relic Terminators. But yeah, Jacob's saying there's a new plastic kit coming out. Yeah, that's what I figured, Jacob. Um, and it's coming out with 10 of them. Okay, well, I mean, then that's what I'll get, and I'll have 10 relics. But yeah, I mean, relics are good as well. Shooting Terminators are fine as well, I guess. Okay, well, thank you for the list submissions, I guess. I will quickly go and open up my box of models and change out what I'm bringing tomorrow night. To finally lose Mephiston, I'll be sad about that. I guess we'll bring the priest back. I think it's worth spending the points for the selfless healer in this list. I guess that puts me back to 8 CP because I've dropped the relic contemptor. I'll probably end up spending 1 CP on the death company before the game starts, but having that death company with 3 hammers with chapter master rerolls and the +1 to hit and the assault doctrine should be pretty tasty, right? So like in turn one I can potentially have, what would it be like? Death Company Marines get 3 attacks, so there would be an assault doctrine, so it'll be 15 Thunderhammer hits. I'll be able to give them +1 to hit and chapter master rerolls, so they'll hit 88% of the time. And then they'll be at -3. It's a good chunk of Thunderhammers, right? I mean, you're talking potentially, I don't know, 20, 30 damage. And then I guess there's some chain swords in there as well. I'm not really. Chain swords are just for shits and giggles, right? Bring Mephiston along just to watch from the sidelines, says Mike. I mean, I guess. Or would you put the Infernal Pistol into the Death Company? So you get 1 Infernal Pistol shot with rerolls. Could be useful. I mean, it's a cheeky thing. Yeah, fuck it. I feel like I've definitely got a Death Company model with an Infernal Pistol. Well, I don't know. Relic Terminators is a fancy name for, yeah, that's the name for the Cataphractories and the Tortos Terminators. They used to have separate data sheets. Okay, I mean, people have been wanting me to run Death Company for ages. I feel like Death Company fit this list better because I can throw stuff at the enemy and not worry about it so much. Like I said before, when I was just running that one squad of Sangri Guard, it felt like there was a lot of pressure to get stuff done on that one squad. Um, yeah, we'll put the Infernal Pistol on the Death Company. It's a risky shot, but I mean, why not, right? I mean, an Infernal Pistol is genuinely a risky shot anyway. I didn't mean to save over the top of that list, god damn it, but that's fine. I'm pretty, yeah, I'm sure I can get the old list back. If I guess, yeah, as much as I like the old list, and I guess this is why this is maybe why I get a little bit frustrated with Games Workshop around the balance patches and around the chapter approved stuff, because there's too much stuff that can't really be run in tournament settings. So I've enjoyed running Mephiston. I've enjoyed running, the Unleash Rage build. But when you actually like knuckle it down, it's like sometimes if you want to win a tournament, you just have to go with the staple, librarian with the jump pack and use the firstborn, etc., etc. And I guess probably for Blood Angels, you probably have to fall back on that first Alpha Strike Death Company as a threat for the enemy to have to deal with. So yeah, I wish the balance was better. I wish that they would do digital rules, and I wish that they would address stuff like earlier in this list, land Landspeeder tornadoes, or earlier in this video, we talked about how badly costed Landspeeder tornadoes were. We also talked about how badly costed Predator Annihilators were, and yeah, it's the most frustrating part of the hobby for me, I guess, because I wanna feel like there's a certain uniqueness to your list, right? But like sometimes it's just like, well, you just need to take these; they are the best thing, and to hell with everything else, I guess. So, thanks for watching tonight, guys. We're going to be live tomorrow night against Chaos Knights. I have no idea. I've never played them, so I guess we'll see. Someone was saying I was going to need to take a leadership test before I can shoot or charge them. I mean, that's going to fuck my leadership 7 Death Company, isn't it? I've Yeah. I mean, I'll probably maybe it's going to be a bad idea to take the Death Company tomorrow night. I'll be like, fuck that shit. I'm never going to run the Death Company again. But yeah, I've not run them in. I don't know. I not run the Death Company for probably like 12 months at this point. They don't get that ability on turn 1, thankfully. DTM says. All right, cool. Well, when I'm going to play the new list tomorrow. When's the tournament? 1, 2, 3 weeks from now. Saturday the 18th. I don't know if I feel prepared. I have not had enough time in general to dedicate to Warhammer in the last pretty much since my son's been born. He's only 5 months old. It's like a full-time job when I'm not in my full-time job looking after him at the moment. So yeah, I probably feel a bit rusty, and I also feel like I don't have a great list, I guess. So we'll try it. If any of you guys want to give me feedback on this list in the comments or Discord, especially after the game on Monday night, I guess if any of you guys watch it and think that there's advice you could give me that could help me, I'd be appreciated as well. Go have fun and then come back and join Chaos. Yeah, it's never going to happen. I shall. Saying that, I mean, I do have my 1,000 Suns just over here, but I mean, they're right next to this damn Inquisitor, so this guy will not let them get off the shelf, I feel like. Mike says he feels the pain. Yeah, kids, man, you gotta have them, but yeah, it'll be easier in the next. I honestly feel like in the next 6 months. I remember how much easier it got with my other kid once they're a little bit. My daughter is so easy now. I just put her down to bed earlier tonight and told her like I'm gonna go work in my office. If you need me, just shout for me. And she's only 2.5, and she just went to sleep. So, yeah. All right, guys. I will catch you tomorrow night. 7:30 as always, and should be a fun game. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I do really appreciate we get a new member tonight and a 16-month membership in from the Highland Phoenix. thank you so much for that. It is always super appreciated getting the memberships. And I was going to say, no Thursday night stream this week. But I do have some other videos coming. I've been working on a little fun video for a while. So I'll share that as soon as I can. Yeah, I've been working on something a little bit different. Not going to give too much away, but there's something different coming from me. So, all right, cool. Enjoy your evening. Peace. By the blood are we made strong, brothers. Good night.